Good day, ladies, NBs, and etceteras. I'm Cassidy, and welcome back to my series on facts and features in Hitman World of Assassination. The previous entry in this series contained 0 facts of actual utility, only the most useless knowledge I've accumulated over my 5 years and 2,000 hours messing about in the world of assassination, and I'm happy to say that this video is much the same. Prepare to be completely and utterly underwhelmed by these facts that are of no use whatsoever. In some positions, if you get spotted while blending in, you can just continue to do it.
Hey you! What the hell's going on here?
This gets very funny very quickly.
Understood.
Many areas in the game have ambient audio to immerse the player in a world that feels like it's being lived in. If one decides to kill everyone in the vicinity, this is the side effect of making the world feel like it's being haunted. Take the kitchen in Colorado, where you can hear the sound of freshly picked apricots being sliced. But by whom? Or Miami, where even death can't stop the pit crew from doing their work. 47's apartment in Hokkaido contains the default yellow yukata suit for the level. This is considered identical to any other suit in every way, even in its appearance in Patient Zero, where if you manage to get it, which isn't the easiest thing since you need to either use Amos Dexter or bring a disposable scrambler, it's hostile everywhere, just like the suit you start in. Apparently everyone, from the guards to the chefs to the patients, knows that the patient wearing that outfit isn't supposed to be booked at this hospital today.
You're not allowed to be here, and you know it! You're in trouble, mister!
It's possible to carry 2 large weapons and a smaller item in your hand, in Romania. This interaction that 47 has with this workbench where he suppresses his pistol is very strange. First, even if you have no pistol ammo when you use it, the gun will always be loaded with 7 bullets. Second, the game just has to put the gun in 47's hand after he creates it, even if that means putting a large weapon that you'd normally have to have on your back, or in your hands, in your inventory. I consider this useless because for the vast majority of Romania, you're either trespassing or in a disguise that lets you openly carry guns. The shotgun and submachine gun can be found everywhere anyway, and the only other large items that could potentially be hidden by this are in the Constance train car. If you shoot an item and pick it up, the impacts from the bullets will still be on it. Different types of missions have different icons associated with them in the game's menus. Most normal missions have this icon, but escalations and elusive targets have these. For some reason, the Sarajevo 6 have their own icon that isn't shared with any other mission type. It's possible to scare Eric Soders to death in any mission on Hokkaido, even bonus missions where your business there has nothing to do with him, as I learned when I tried to wish him a happy Christmas in the Hokkaido Snow Festival.
What are you doing? Hey, idiot!
What?
You're getting me really angry now!
Alexander Kovak was the leader of the infamous heist gang, the Yardbirds, and contracts you to kill 3 out of the 5 of them in Himmelstein, Austria. With Calvin Ritter having been assassinated by the ICA over 20 years prior, this allowed Kovak, the last Yardbird, to safely claim the gang's earnings from its hidden cash. But as we learn later on,
in Panama City, Interpol agents have arrested the last surviving member of the legendary gang of thieves known as the Yardbirds. Alexander Kovak, a Serbian native, was attempting to convert close to $50 million into bitcoins, the spoils of the Yardbirds' spectacular final casino heist. And now, nations are lining up to prosecute Kovak, including Russia, Germany, the US, and Austria, where Kovak is the prime suspect in a triple murder at a wedding ceremony.
Don't worry, I'm lore dumping with a very specific purpose in mind. The last update we ever got on Kovak was about his arrest as of Hitman 2, but in Mendoza, when Tamara Vidal is guessing which deaths over the years have been orchestrated by her new friend from the retirement industry, she brings up Alexander Kovak, and Diana confirms that 47 killed him.
Alexander Kovak? Leader of the Yardbirds?
Yes.
Knew I had you pegged.
Now, a few months after Hitman 3 released, I made a video about this interaction and guessed that it was a tease for a future Kovak's elusive target, since other elusive targets are mentioned by Vidal.
Mark Faber? The Undying?
Correct.
I knew it.
But this just never materialized, and with the world of assassination looking like it'll receive precious little new content in the future, my prediction of a mission to kill Kovak looks less and less likely to become true. This means one of two things must be true. Either 47 killed a former client of his off-screen, or Diana told exactly one lie during this entire game with Tamara just because she was annoyed with all the questions and wanted to fuck with her. Just as was the case with Mr. Camerini, in the absence of any other evidence, we must assume the funniest option is true. So good work, Diana, for proving that your sense of humor is definitely above 47's awful puns.
Excuse me, you should try this. It really is to die for.
Hey, wait a minute.
Now for something a bit later. Depictions of suicide. As the detective in Dartmoor, you can blame Alexa Carlyle for her brother's death, asserting that it was caused by the grief of both her other brother's death and her own death. Jesus, I forgot how convoluted Dartmoor's story is. If you do this, Alexa will leap off her own balcony to her death, but 47 can stop her because he hates kill stealing. Fall damage is practically a non-issue for NPCs, so if you throw a fish at Miss Carlyle while she's on the edge of her railing, she'll just harmlessly flop to the ground.
Oh crap, Alexa!
What happens next is inconsistent. Sometimes she'll walk down for a bit and immediately go back to the balcony to finish her job, but on this occasion, the fish seems to have either made her extremely contemplative or knocked all thought out of her head. On another occasion, her body fell right into the small fountain with her head staying just above water, keeping her alive, but also out of the reach of any guards who could wake her up. The Executive Briefcase Mark II, perhaps better known as a homing briefcase, flies comedically slowly whenever 47 throws it at his target. Its speed is tied to the game's frame rate, so if you want to make it fly as slow as possible, reduce your graphics settings to get more frames. Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch players can do that by turning on Performance Mode, which reduces the resolution in exchange for running an unstable 60 FPS. New-gen console players needn't worry, as their copies already run at a locked 60 frames on PS5, Series X, and S. And PC players should have the most fun with this, being the only players able to run the game at frame rates exceeding 60, so get to lowering those settings. Here's some interesting facts about going out of bounds. First, 47 leaves footprints in the snow in Hokkaido, even if he's out of bounds, and even if he's not actually walking on the snow. Second, bodies act strange if you toss them out of bounds and take their clothes. This can get even stranger due to some quirks with how 47 is rendered. The small gold bar, unlockable by gaining mastery in New York, is one of the more useful items in the game. It's a fully usable and legal blunt weapon, but it also works as a coin, luring NPCs towards it when it is thrown or placed.
Nice.
Shit. Sorry guys, I just told you all a useful fact. To make up for it, here's a useless one. Because of its utility as a coin, the gold bar is sorted into the gear section of the game's inventory menu. But because it's also a weapon that you're supposed to whack people with, the gold bar is in the gear section's melee subcategory, where it's entirely alone. No other item in the game is in this weirdly specific niche, so the gold bar has had its own tab to itself since its introduction in Hitman 2. As I've mentioned in facts number 8, non-lethal items can be thrown from crowds without any risk. One detail I neglected to mention, however, is that this extends to items that can't knock people out, allowing you to throw your muffins, apples, and whatever else without even panicking the crowd around you.
Get out of here! Now!
This is not good. What's going on? Are we in danger?
Command, nothing in my position, over. Leave the area! Leave the area! Shit! Go!
Okay, you got it, you got it.
You gotta help me!
Command? Anybody there?
I hear you.
Come in! Something really bad is going down.
Using this trick on targets can cause them to go into a soft lockdown, temporarily interrupting their routes as they surround themselves with guards in a nearby area. Most people might think that very few changes were made to Hitman 2's maps in Master Mode, but there's a very cool exception. This window in the Isle of Scale is locked off entirely. You can't climb through it to the outside. If you try to climb to it from another window, you'll find that a light fixture has been placed in your way. I don't play too much Master Mode, as much as I'm trying to fix that, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the only change to the actual layout of a level made by Master Mode in the entire trilogy. Some routes might decide to be locked or have additional NPCs, but I don't think any are ever gated off entirely like this one.
Holy shit!
You can shoot lights. I know that sounds incredibly obvious to many of you, but there isn't exactly an abundance of games that let you destroy the vast majority of the light sources in them. Does this make Hitman better than all the games being shown right now? Possibly. However, most rooms remain well lit enough to see clearly even after shooting out the lights in them, and sometimes the game makes it obvious that it doesn't expect you to do this. Just take a look at how brightly lit these blinds are when there are no nearby sources of light. In spite of this, I definitely appreciate the devs letting us have this heightened interactivity with their levels, even if it can show their very impressive limits. Any starting location that starts you with a disguise helpfully shows a small thumbnail of 47 in that disguise for reference, so you know exactly what you're wearing without needing to read all the text. The thumbnails for these locations in the older levels actually show 47 as he appeared when the destination first released, presumably for fuck redoing all that tedious work reasons. However, there are exceptions to this. For whatever reason, the kitchen's starting location on Scale features the updated model for 47 included in Hitman 3. I've previously mentioned how awful proximity bombs are, because it's very easy to accidentally blow yourself up.
It's hell-free.
What I didn't know then was that if you drop one at all, you need to either GTFO or pick it back up immediately, because picking it up does not disarm it. Here's a fact I was told by my buddy Eric. If you fiddle with this fuse box in New York, the camera opposite it will turn off. Permanently. I think this might be the only instance of something like this in the entire world of assassination, but if I'm wrong, feel free to tell me about any more in the comments, because it's weird. On that note, I think I've told you guys enough Hitman facts for now. I've been Cassidy, and have a nice day.
You did this, you better tell me right now. Hey, Psycho!
Shit! Gunshots! Get in the game!